All right, Brampton, things are not looking particularly good on the real estate side of things here. We have our February numbers. They have come in. So what we're going to do in today's video is I'm actually going to get a little bit more in depth than we generally do. I'm going to give you a full market report comparing month over month, year over year. And then after we do that, I'm actually going to take you through the statistics on Brampton only and how the sales charts look, how those average prices look from September until now. So if you're thinking of maybe making a move, whether it's buying a property, whether it's selling a property, hopefully by the end of this video, you are gonna have all of that information for you. So without further ado, you're gonna have a screen recording somewhere up on here of all the statistics, and I'm gonna walk you through them, so don't mind me. I'll be looking at those numbers as we go over them here. So as you can see, on the chart here, your median price month over month has actually come down. January is generally the slowest month in the real estate cycle. So we've come down from 925 to 912, 500. Your transaction volume is where I'm concerned the most. We have seen a 26.5% decrease in transactions that have taken place. So in a slow month to a supposed to be a little bit busier month, we've actually seen a massive decrease from 351 last month down to 258 transactions that took place. And this is not surprising because we have a lot going on economically. We're in this tariff yo-yo. This is a pretty big decrease, so keep that in mind as we're going through here. Your median list price has now gone down about $20,000, and your new listings volume is slightly down as well. So a couple things we have to consider here. Terminations, you're seeing lots of terminations happening still. 417 last month. We had even more at 501,000. And then on the total dollar volume, you're going to see the similarity. It's negative 26.5% obviously on the transaction side of things, and that dollar volume looks like 348 last month to 255 million this month here. Now, if we're looking at last year, you can see a lot of these arrows here. They are on the downside of things. Same month last year, we had 448 transactions. And if you wind back time last February, the market was not looking great either. So in a even slow year last year, we are even more slow. So, almost 50% less transactions actually taking place in a year over year outlook, which is crazy to think. New listings were of course up. People are trying to get rid of their properties, and this is just kind of a waterfall effect. So we're seeing that 14% increase being 914 new listings last year. Now we're at 1,047 here. Above list price, we were seeing a lot of homes selling above list price last year. The bidding war tactic was still working. Right now, it's not working whatsoever. Below list price, you're seeing here 60% of homes last year were below list price. Now we're creeping, 73%. So 3/4 of houses are actually selling below what you list them at, which is very normal in a real estate market. It's not normal for everything to be 105, 110% of your listing price. So don't be too worried about that specific statistic. And then on the termination side of things, you can see we've got almost double the amount of listings that are coming off the market because maybe they're not selling, maybe the price was too high, so they want to make an adjustment before they relist it at a higher price. And then in terms of dollar volume, we've almost cut that in 50% from what we were doing last year to this year. And we'll look at this final category here. So year to date, the median sale price is down. The transaction volume is also down. We have new listings obviously up. That goes with the trending down on transactions. Your percent above list price is down here. So you can see the trend and where we're going. But more importantly, I want to take you into another chart that I've got here. So right now, this is just all of Brampton. We're just looking right now at one specific statistic, and that's going to be the transaction volume. You can see from September 2024, we have taken this ride, but we are actually at our lowest amount of transactions happening since September. And I can wind this further back to see how much further back, even if it's in the last few years, to get to the same volume amount. It might be around that COVID time of things, but we are significantly down from where we were 6 months ago. But what I want to do to really show you how this looks on all the categories is we'll go through the different housing types here. So if we're looking at detached side of things, this gap gets even further. If we want to go to semi-detached, it doesn't look as dramatic. That chart, yes, we are lower than we were in September, but it's not significant. Townhouse side of things, pretty flat, which is great. If you own a townhouse, you're not going to be as worried. The price hasn't fallen off the cliff. Let's take a look at those good old condos. So you can see that cliff is looking pretty steep between the last couple months here. It's been flat since December, but now we've kind of fallen off of that cliff. Condo townhouse, it's going to be a little bit more flat, more like that attached townhouse. So just wanted to break those down for you, and we'll select all of them again to show you what that chart looks like. This chart here really does reflect a lot more of what the condo market looks like, but obviously this is encompassing everything. This is encompassing all the transactions happening in Brampton, and we're only looking at Brampton here. We're not doing anything specific outside of Brampton. Now, let's look at a couple other things. Let's look here at how much the days on market has actually changed. So overall, in the last 6 months, we haven't seen a big change. 20 days on market, it was actually 19 before. So we've maybe increased 1 day on market. But once again, that's the big picture. Let's look at the detached homes. Okay, very similar to your average. Your semi-detached homes, very similar. The townhouses, they've had a little bit of a yo-yo as well. Your days on market here for your condos was actually the highest in January, and now it's come back down, but we are in Brampton. There's not a lot of condos, so these numbers can fluctuate. And then of course, your days on market on the condo townhouses, they've done the yo-yo, but they're slightly up from where they were since September. Now, I know a lot of you want to actually look at transaction, the price, of course. Where are we at for the prices? So let's go back to everything here. September, we were looking at your average price being about $995. Now we are down here to $912. Not a big drop. You have to remember, this is a short period of time. This is all housing types. Let's look at detached for now. Let's untag that. So detached homes, wouldn't you know, detached homes are going to be slightly, so 1,125,000. Detached homes are now 1,160,000. So detached homes in Brampton have actually seen an uptick in the transaction price. Okay, where are we at on the other categories here? Semi-detached, you can see we've taken a little bit of a drop from 950. Now we've dropped down here to 906. And let's see if this trend continues. Are we dropping or are we increasing here? So we have your, September price coming through right over here at 852. And then we've come through on the other side here at 840. So just a slight change there in the pricing. Let's check the most important, because condos have taken the big hit here. So we were looking at the average prices of condos in September of $525, and now we're looking at $505. $20,000 decrease. So I wanted to really show you these charts because it's important to look at the bigger picture. You're seeing a lot of the articles out there that are saying things are falling off a cliff, the market is bad. But then we're looking at charts here where the detached home prices are actually up. So there are some categories that might surprise you. So when we're looking at all these statistics, the whole point of this is to give you the big picture of what's actually happening in this market. Of course, this is Brampton. If you want a Mississauga, if you want a Milton, drop it in the comment section. I will give you that video if that's something that interests you guys watching this here. But more importantly, what I want to do is kind of give you this picture. So if you want to make a transaction happen in this market, you understand what is happening. If you're trying to sell a condo right now, things have become a lot more difficult. If you want to sell a detached home, things in the last 6 months have actually become better for you. And that ultimately is what I want you to understand. It is a good opportunity to sell your detached home in the moment. Keep in mind, you're likely going to sell a detached and buy another detached, which means you're going to be paying a little bit more than you were 6 months ago. Now, if you want to make a transition from a condo to a townhouse or to a detached, depending on what your financial ability is, of course, that jump can make a lot more sense, or it can be a lot more difficult financially to go from a condo all the way to a detached home in terms of the dollar amount it's going to cost. But if the housing category has dropped down on all of these, let's use the example of everything has dropped, it's actually more beneficial for you to take a little bit of a loss on your condo and go for that next step, because that loss of potentially 10% is much larger at $1 million. So it'd be a $100,000 loss compared to a $500,000 condo losing 10%, 50 grand. So you've kind of gained $50,000 in a sense when making that move. So look at all the picture, see if it makes sense for you. So I hope this video provided you with some value and some understanding of what's actually happening. A lot of the article headlines out there are going to be the doom and gloom. And yes, some of this is not the most encouraging to see things continually falling off a cliff month after month, but it's not every housing category. And if you're not buying or you're not selling, you just want the information, it's good to keep yourself educated on what's actually happening in the market today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in learning a little bit more, not only about Brampton here, but about the entire Greater Toronto area, you can watch that market update video in one of these two corners, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.